Hello and welcome to Galahad Reviews. I'm Galahad and today I'm going to be reviewing the Astro A50 Gen 4. I bought these around 7 months ago and this is not a sponsored review. Prior to this I had the Astro A50 Gen 3 and prior to that I had the Astro A40 TR Gen 3. So I've tried a few of their products. We have a lot to cover because there is a stupid number of features for these guys. So without further ado, let's dive in. Up first, let's get nerdy. Each A50 comes with a base station and headset, which operates almost the same as the Mixamp Pro TR for the A40s, with the main difference being that the Mixamp Pro TR has a dedicated stream out port, whereas the A50 does not. Due to this, the A50 base station has mild feedback if you are using the aux line, which I am unable to eliminate even by using a ground loop isolator, which means that if you are wanting to use this for streaming, that I would bypass these and get the Mixamp Pro TR instead, or buy these and also buy the Mixamp Pro TR since you're Bill Gates and all, and you can afford it. Moving on to the base station has a lot of tech built into it, which is one reason why this headset costs so much. For the next several minutes, this is what we will be discussing, as there are multiple components to it, starting off with a high-level overview, and then we will get into the specific parts. First up are some technical specs. According to Artings, it has a 17 milliseconds of latency, which is great for a wireless headset. I've never noticed any latency when gaming competitively with it. It is powered by a 1 meter USB micro B to USB 2.0 cable. They have decided to go from the exclusive snobby 5.8 gigahertz band that gets invited to all the rich people parties to a more average throw a party in your backyard, perhaps light your lawn on fire on accident or on purpose, who knows, 2.4 gigahertz band this time around. With the 2.4 gigahertz band being your typical college dropout who makes friends easily, is still semi-intelligent, but basic, allowing you to get better range. They say 30 feet and provides better connection strength. But sadly, due to having ADD and as a side effect of smoking too much ganja, it gets easily distracted by other products that are in the same band, which can cause increased interference. Personally, I have a 2.4/5 gigahertz wireless router that is about 4 feet from the base station, along with other wireless devices such as my mouse and keyboard, and I haven't had any drops at all with any of my devices. I can even walk around my entire house, which is about 30 feet, through walls without it dropping out, which is much improved from the Gen 3, where I could barely walk 10 feet without it dropping. So it's a welcome change for me, but others report continued drops. But I would say this is the exception and not the rule, with most not having any problems at all. Second, it is a USB sound card, which means that it is a strong and independent woman that you can't tell what to do. Bob, stop interrupting me when I'm doing a monologue. What? This is the wrong video for that. Crap. I mean, a USB sound card means that for the PC and PS4 that the optical cable is optional because it don't need no man in its life. I'm not sure if this is the case with the Xbox One and I can't test it because I don't own one. But if you happen to know, let me know in the comment section below. So what exactly is a USB sound card? A sound card consists of a digital audio converter, aka DAC, and an amp. A DAC translates digital audio samples into analog pulses, which then passes that information onto the amp, which amplifies the signal so we can adjust loudness. This means that any device that has a USB port for power and an optical port to provide sound, it will work with and allow you to change the volume, such as a TV. They also split game volume and chat volume into two different sources that you can adjust via the right ear cup to get the best balance. With the PC, you can utilize this for other options than just chat, such as sending your music to the chat channel instead. There is also a stream port, which is attached to the optical out port and not the aux port, that you can send what you are hearing out to your stream without affecting your own volumes. This can be adjusted in Astro Command Center, which reminds me that I stream on Twitch. You can find me at twitch.tv/OneSirGalahad. Links are in the description. If you are buying this strictly for streaming, I would buy the A40 or specifically the Mixamp Pro TR, as that has a dedicated stream port and works better than the A50 in that degree, as the A50 is supposed to be more of a home entertainment device over a streaming device. Third, third, it comes with Dolby Audio, which in this case supports up to 7.1 simulated surround sound using Dolby Pro Logic 2X or Dolby Atmos for the Xbox One, Dolby Atmos or Windows Sonic for the PC, or Dolby Pro Logic 2X for the PS4, as that console doesn't support Atmos as far as I know. Simulated surround sound means that the headset only has 2 speakers, but it uses software to create 5 or 7 speakers and 1 subwoofer to try and give you an immersive 3D audio experience. Most will find that using stereo will give you a more consistent and better audio experience. Now, before you go off in the comments saying that 7.1 surround sound is superior, I don't disagree. However, to get 7.1 to work correctly takes a whole chain of things to be set up correctly to sound right. If everything isn't set up perfectly, you end up with a reduction of audio fidelity in comparison to keeping it stock at stereo. When it isn't set up correctly, directional sound is terrible, depth and texture is gone, sounds can sound artificial, tinny, and processed, among a bunch of other things. It also requires you to do more research for every piece of content you ingest to make sure they support Dolby instead of DTS, and that everything is set up correctly, which honestly, most people are just simply too lazy to do correctly. So for example, I'm not going to show you how to set up everything correctly, as this varies from device to device, but I'll explain what you need to know so you can figure it out yourself. Keep in mind, I'm not an expert in this. Sound is stupidly complicated, so I may get something wrong, but I think I have a pretty good grasp on it. To get surround to work correctly, we need everything in the chain to be set up correctly, starting with A, the console/PC to be set on Dolby Audio, usually Dolby Bitstream out, with surround mode on if applicable. B, we need the A50 to have surround sound mode on by pressing the Dolby button on the headset. If you're doing this on the PC, then the Dolby button should be off if you're going through USB instead of optical. If it's on optical, then it should be on. So it gets a little complicated there, and you'll have to do your own testing to see if that is correct or not. As sometimes if it's already on in the software and you turn it on again, it actually re-encodes everything again incorrectly. C, we need to make sure the game supports Dolby Audio and not DTS audio. And last, D, that the game has surround mode on in the settings. So, test time. We have 3 games on Xbox. Game 1 has Dolby Audio, Game 2 has DTS audio, Game 3 is only in stereo. Which game will sound good and which game will sound bad with Dolby on? The answer is that Game 1 will sound great with the A50s since the game supports Dolby. It has information to send to the 5.1/7.1 channels when we upscale it, which gives us excellent sound. Game 2 will not sound good because it supports DTS and not Dolby, which means it's in a different language and the headset can't understand it, which means it can't decode the information to correctly send to the 5.1/7.1 channels. Game 3 will also not sound good as it is made for stereo, which means it only has info for 2 channels. So when it upscales to 5.1/7.1, it has no information except for those first 2 channels. So it will then try to create audio for the others or separate the audio it does have incorrectly to fill those channels, which gives us bad sound. This is why I say that most will enjoy the sound in stereo more than in surround, as it takes a lot less effort because everything supports PCM stereo and you never have to tweak with any settings, it's just plug and go, where only select things support Dolby Surround and it requires setup. Moving on to the headset, it is over the ear. They are open back, which gives you a more wide and airy soundstage while still allowing you to hear what's going on around you. This includes being able to hear your voice well, which means that you're not going to be yelling on comms. It comes with 40mm neodymium magnetic drivers. Last, it is rated for 20 Hz to 20,000 Hz, which is the range of human hearing. The battery life is rated for 15 hours. I found this to be quite accurate. I've been able to go multiple days without needing to charge them. However, charge time can take a long time when going from 0 to full, as these are built to put your headphones on the dock when done and then charge throughout the night. They do not support fast charging. I believe they do this to get the best battery life as possible for as long as possible, as when you quick charge a device, it heats up the battery more, which causes it to have a shorter lifespan, as does going from a 0 charge to a full charge, instead of staying between 30 to 70%. So with small, frequent charging combined with slow charge time, it should make the battery last a lot longer because there's less wear and tear. Additionally, with it being on the 2.4 gigahertz band, they were able to place a smaller battery in the device, which makes the headset lighter than previous gens, but still have just as long of battery life. It comes in at 365 grams. The microphone is flipped to mute, which has less compression resolution than previous models with increased voice isolation. I think it sounds great for a headset mic. However, if you vary in the way you talk, it can peak. Here's a little example. Hello and welcome to the audio test for the Astro A50 Gen 4 microphone. This is me just talking in a normal voice volume, and as you can see, because I'm not varying my voice very much, that everything sounds pretty good. However, if I start to get kind of excited and stuff like that, you could kind of hear it peaking right there. And that is the problem with these guys, because if you're ever changing kind of your voice and how it sounds and stuff like that, it doesn't sound very good. However, if you keep a nice, calm, collected sense of center, then it sounds excellent. Last, it comes with Astro Audio version 2. Put simply, they adjusted the EQ to be more balanced to give you better overall sound so you can hear highs, mids, and bass well without one overpowering the other. They also made some changes to the drivers themselves to make things more clear and accurate sounding. Last, they angled the drivers, which direct sound better into your ear. I'll be discussing sound quality a lot more in depth a little bit later in the review. So moving on to build quality and aesthetics. The Astro A50 has two versions of base station. It is critical that you buy the correct base station or else voice chat will not work. Voice is attached to wherever the USB is plugged into, meaning if it is plugged into your PS4, you will chat on your PS4. If you are plugged into your PC, then your mic will be on the PC. This is the same for the previous generation. You can tell the correct base station for your console based off the box or by the colors. For the Xbox One, it is a black headset / base station with bronze coloring. The one for the PlayStation 4 is a black headset / base station with silver coloring. Both work for the PC. The reason why there are two versions of the base station is because the architecture that makes up the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One are different, which means to get the microphone portion to work without a cable being plugged into the controller and be truly wireless, they needed to change the internals to match each system. However, the headsets are technically the same, which means that if you own both consoles, you just need to buy a second base station for whichever console you did not buy the first time around. So for example, if I own the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, I go to the store and I buy the Astro A50 for PlayStation 4 and PC. Now, to use that headset on my Xbox with chat, I would head over to Astro or Amazon and buy the A50 Gen 4 base station for Xbox One for $99. Then when I wanted to use my headset on the PlayStation 4, I would simply put the headset inside that base station to allow it to pair up, and then I would be good to go. If I wanted to use it on my Xbox One, I would put that headset into that base station and it would pair up and I would be good to go. Up next is the base station. It is made of a combination of matte and glossy black plastic. It has a good weight to it and feels very solid in the hand. On the top, you have your charging pins, which must line up with the headset perfectly to get it to charge, which can be a royal pain in the butt. I have to tinker with it every single time I place it on the dock in order for it to tell that the headset is indeed there and is able to charge and connect. Why they haven't made it magnetic to get into the correct position a lot easier is unknown to me, as this was a problem with the previous generation and it continues to be a problem on this one, albeit a little bit better. On the front, you have your display, which is in white. On the far left, you have your Astro logo, then how much battery you have left, with 100% being 4 bars. Up next is a star symbol for when you are on stereo mode, or a Dolby symbol for surround. Then it shows you either PC or Xbox / PS4 to notify you which mode you have selected. Last, you have your choice of 3 profiles, and it will show you which number is selected. On the back of the base station, going left to right, you have your toggle switch to go either from PC to PS4 or vice versa. You also have a USB slot to charge your headset if needed while playing, an optical in port, an optical out port, an aux port, which gives horrible feedback at louder volumes even when using a ground loop isolator, and a micro USB port for power. On the bottom, you have some rubber pads and legal information. There are times where the base station will just stop working, in which you need to power cycle it by either sliding from PC to console or vice versa, or disconnecting it completely. This happens a lot more frequently than I would like, and is definitely a problem that these suffer. You also at times have to pair the headset in order to get sound on a relatively frequent basis, which is also frustrating. The process is easy and takes almost no time at all, but it shouldn't happen at all. Up next is the headset. I have the PlayStation 4 version, which means it is mostly matte black with silver accents. On the left ear cup, you have your microphone, which is not removable and is flip up to mute. Some report this becoming loose and breaking over time. On the right ear cup, you have your voice /chat balance. You also have, going from top to bottom, a switch to turn the headset on/off, a button to turn on Dolby, a button to cycle through your 3 profiles, and last, a volume dial. The power on switch is solid and requires a moderate amount of force. The 2 buttons require a mild/moderate amount of force with a very satisfying click that isn't very loud and you can't hear it with the headset on. Last, you have the volume wheel, which is alright. It requires a light amount of force to scroll, is infinite with distinct steps. This is another problem area for this headset, as my first one had a rattle to it. The second does not, but I have read a lot of reviews where that is the case. Both ear cups swivel mildly anteriorly and up to 90 degrees posteriorly. This requires a moderate amount of force and feels excellent and is very smooth. They also move ever so slightly laterally, which helps them with overall comfort. They are adjustable based on a slider on each ear cup, which requires a moderate amount of force as well, but moves smoothly and allows you to have excellent precision with little marks so you can equalize both sides, which I am definitely a fan of because I have slight OCD. On the top, you have a removable headband. I do not recommend trying to remove it, as this is known as a main point of failure for this headset. I actually had to send in mine for an RMA due to removing it, and then it never attached the same way ever again. Others have also struggled with this issue. Last, the ear cups themselves can be removed easily as they are magnetic, which makes them easy to replace if worn out or to replace them with the mod kit. I've always found Astro headsets to be incredibly comfortable. This generation has smaller ear cups than last gen, which means if you have Dumbo ears, it may cause some discomfort and turn into on-ear headphones instead of over the ear. They also work best with large or smaller heads. If you've got an extra large head looking at you, Summit 1G, then these might not fit comfortably. I personally find the clamping force to be light, but snug enough to keep them in place. For me, it's just right. I think for others, it will be good as well. The ear pads are also very soft and plushy for those who have sweaty ears when they get sweaty in game. They have great breathability. I wouldn't mind having a pillow made of this stuff because it is so comfortable. With the mod kit, you are also able to swap out the ear pads for Fox leather ones, which are also comfortable but change the sound profile a little bit, in my opinion, in a negative way. I'll have a separate review for those if you are interested, and if I'm awesome enough and remember to add links to the description of this video, then you can find them there. Moving on to sound quality. So I put all of my headsets through something called the ZaliaS sound test, which is split into 3 categories: first-person shooter / single-player gaming, general use, and music. This consists of me playing 3 different games: Escape from Tarkov, Apex Legends, and Grand Theft Auto 5, and using them for movies, music, chatting, and anything else that you normally use a headset for. And last, listening to 15 different songs of different genres, which allow me to get an audio profile for them that I can then compare to other headphones to see how they compare. I then relay what I find to you. I compare all my headsets to my Sennheiser HD650s, as I believe they have phenomenal sound. This allows me to have a baseline as to what a sound should sound like. I then adjust my score based on the price. For these, they cost $300, which makes competition fierce, as for that price, you can buy nearly anything. These, however, scored very well in my ZaliaS sound test. Often the sound I get from these compared to my HD650s is eerily similar. The HD650s still win, especially in music, but to say that a wireless gaming headset sounds remarkably similar to the HD650s is a huge compliment. For competitive gaming, these do a great job, as I can hear footsteps and directional sounds extremely well, which allow me to pinpoint where an enemy is in the 3D space, which gives me a competitive advantage. I use this to either A, alert me that an enemy was near, which allowed me to react faster or set up for a counter attack, B, chase after someone who was running from me through sound alone, or C, lie in wait as they came near to allow me to get the jump on them. Often when you get that type of sound, you lose out on the quality of other sounds in the game, such as gunshots, glass breaking, environmental cues, and nuances. However, these continue to excel in those categories as well, with excellent accuracy of sound with nothing sounding processed. Bass was present and noticeable, but never overbearing. At times, I wish this was just a little bit more present. This allowed me to feel more immersed in the game I was playing, but I wasn't able to hear all the nuances in the game, but I could hear most of them. Also, when a lot was going on, a small portion of that sound would turn into noise, and it required focus to hear the individual aspects. This is the reason why they went from fantastic to great. For general use, these also did a fantastic job as the sound continues to be very accurate, full with texture and depth, which leads to a very satisfying listen. The bass is present but isn't overbearing, and highs are crisp without being sharp. They have a more excited tone to them, but at the same time are relaxed so your ears don't get fatigued. Overall, I greatly enjoyed them. When it comes to music, I would describe the sound for the Gen 4s as airy and open. You can hear what is happening in the room around you. They are analytical and balanced. I can hear a high level of detail in music / gaming, and the bass, mids, and highs blend well together. Bass is a bit more than the rest, but it doesn't overbear the sound or create congestion, bloat, or muddiness. They are crisp and natural. It has solid depth, imaging, and directional sound. Detail is excellent. Soundstage is medium. Overall, it is a very pleasurable listening experience. These provide extremely good sound. I know that a 7.67 out of 10 doesn't seem like it's that high, but I very rarely give 8s to anything, and this scored those a lot. 9s for me are also almost non-existent, and I'm not sure if I've ever given a 10 to anything, so almost getting an 8 out of 10 is very impressive. Moving on to what others are saying, a new portion of my reviews will include something that I'm dubbing What Others Are Saying, which will incorporate reviews from Amazon, Best Buy, and if applicable, the product's native store, in order to get a high-level overview of potential problems that a product may have that I didn't experience to give a more well-rounded review. Sometimes this may include actual percentages and defects. Other times, when that is just simply too much work, like in this case for this review, I will instead just focus on possible defects and which ones were most popular. For all of these, I consider a positive review to be 4 stars or higher and a negative review to be 3 stars or lower. If we add all of the reviews from Amazon, Best Buy, and Astro's own website, we get a total of 1,216 reviews, with 993 of them being 4 stars or higher and 223 of them being 3 stars or less, which means 82% of people had a positive experience and 18% had a negative experience. As this is the first time I've done this with any headset, I don't know if this is a good or bad percentages in comparison to the competition. People reported the following problems: low max volume, headset disconnections, the headset just dying, either the headset or the base station, top headband not staying connected, one side died, microphone was loose, microphone didn't work, microphone going in and out, headset crackles or screeches, volume wheel rattles, firmware issues, poor quality sound, difficulty with the charging dock, inability to fit large heads comfortably, poor battery life, no Bluetooth, mod kit not working, it going into sleep mode when not moving, and game / voice balance not working well. Of those problems, the ones that I saw the most were low max volume, which was later fixed with a firmware update, headset disconnects, which was supposed to be improved by switching to the 2.4 GHz band over the 5 GHz band from previous generation, microphone being loose, microphone going in and out, and charging dock issues. If you somehow made it to the end of this review, you are an MVP, and you should write MVP in the comment section below so I can praise your steadfastness, because I seriously, honestly do truly appreciate you. I greatly enjoy my Astro A50 Gen 4s as the base station is small, compact, sleek, and gives all the information I need. The headset itself is also very pleasing to the eye. It has an extremely good microphone compared to other headset mics, is incredibly comfortable, has great inline controls, and wonderful battery life. You pair those together and you have a ton of features which work extremely well with each other while providing excellent sound, which may make you believe that I highly recommend going out and purchasing them. But unfortunately, this generation is riddled with issues, with the most important ones being the top headband breaking, the scroll wheel being loose, the microphone coming undone or not working, the base station not always detecting the headset, causing you to power cycle often, and it having charging issues, which requires constant tinkering, which seriously detracts from a fantastic product. If you're willing to put up with those problems I just listed and the ones I listed from the reviews, then I think you will seriously enjoy this product. I still recommend getting these over the SteelSeries Arctis Pro. I also still think these are the best wireless gaming headset on the market, as you can also plug them into any TV and get wireless sound out of them, which is awesome. So I will continue to use them daily, and I'll also likely buy the Gen 5s when they hit stores. That is the end of this review. If you happen to be purchasing these off Amazon, my affiliate links are in the description below, which is an excellent way that you can support this channel and future reviews at no extra cost to you. If you like this video, give it a like. If you dislike this video, give it a dislike. If you enjoyed this video and want to see others like it, or have been following my content for a while, hit that subscribe button and turn on bell notifications so you know when I upload a new video. Currently, that should be every Monday at 8 a.m. CST. I will catch you and your beautiful face on the next one. God bless and peace out.